Welcome to a special edition of Whitetail Rendezvous. What's so special? Well, I've asked 6 of my friends who live out here in the Rockies and are DIY archery hunters to share tips, techniques, and resources that they use to be very successful elk and mule deer hunters. One thing you got to remember, April 4th, 2017 is the closing of applications for applying for limited elk and mule deer. All the mule deer tags in Colorado are by draw only. Now, there's many areas in Colorado where you can apply for an elk, or you can choose to take an over-the-counter tag. As you might imagine, there's fewer hunters in the limited draw areas, but you still can get a tag, and we have hundreds of thousands of acres of Forest Service land, so you can pick the place you want to hunt. Talking about picking a place, there's no better research tool than GoHunt.com Insider. And I have Brandon Evans as a guest on the show, and he's going to lead off telling you why GoHunt.com is the place to go, why Insider will give you all the information that you need to know about hunting Colorado. Why? Because I wrote many of the big game unit profiles. What does that mean? You're going to find at GoHunt.com how many preference points it takes. What's the class of trophy that's in there? Is it a 260 bull, a 300 bull, or a 350 bull? As you might imagine, a 350 bull, if it's in a limited draw area, it's going to take a heck of a lot of preference points. It might take years, but they'll still give you the opportunity to use their resource tools to find a place that has 265 bulls, Pope and Young bulls, and you can get an over-the-counter tag. So Brandon Evans from GoHunt.com Insider is going to share how, why, when, and where you can be a successful DIY hunter in the state of Colorado for elk and mule deer. Oh, one thing I want you all to remember, you need to listen to the whole show to get the promo code. What's the promo code going to do? When you sign up to be a member of GoHunt.com Insider, you will be given a Sportsman Warehouse gift card. How much is that gift card? Well, you're going to have to listen to the end of the show to get that. Hey, folks, sit back, relax, and dream about hunting elk and mule deer in the Rockies, specifically in the state of Colorado, coming up this fall. Welcome to a special episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. Why is it special? Well, folks, this is for all you people in the Midwest, all you people that have elk hunting on your bucket list, want to come out to the Rockies. Specifically, I'm going to talk to Lisa Thompson today. She is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Hunt Data and a pro staff at a number of companies. And Lisa and I are going to chat about what it takes to be a DIY hunter in the Rockies. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bruce. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It's great. I love talking elk. I love talking the Rockies, and I look forward to this conversation. So,
in the warm-up, we talked about 3 critical things for you, kind of your go-to list if somebody asks you at a show or something. You know, what do I got to do? What have I got to do to hunt elk? And we're going to spend about a half an hour unpacking that. But your first thing, I believe, is you got to be in shape. Let's unpack that and help people realize how unforgiving these mountains are.
Well, yes, they are. The Rocky Mountains are, they're tall. I live here in Colorado, and we have 52 peaks that are 14,000 plus, and the elk just run underneath those peaks. They're, in my view, they're about 12 to 13,000 feet, especially for bow hunters. And so getting in shape, and with the altitude, I live here in Denver, and it's mile high, so, you know, we got some good altitude here, but those elk are running around at, like I said, 12 or 13,000 feet. So getting in shape means getting in shape, and that means altitude shape, and that means body shape. So it's not just going to the gym once a week and trying to get in shape that way. I would tell somebody to get a backpack on that they're going to carry, get their hunting boots that they're going to wear, and I would tell them to go hike, or even if they go to the gym on the treadmill, I would do it with that stuff on, because so many people come out here and the altitude gets them, and their boots they haven't wore, and they have blisters, and they can't walk after a day or two, and they look up and they glass them, and the elk are, you know, really high, and they just can't do the hunt anymore.
When you think about it, and we shared a little about my first trip out here, and you asked me, what's the first thing I do? The first thing I do is find out where I want to go in the various states. It could be New Mexico, it could be Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho. There's a lot of places with a lot of elk. Fortunately, here in Colorado, we're blessed, Lisa, because we have a lot of elk and we have a lot of public land that you can access. Especially during the archery season. I mean, there's so much land out there that you can hunt literally, basins 11,000, 12,000 feet down to sagebrush flats and aspen groves. So to me, it varies, but you want to find out where you want to hunt. And why are you going to do that? Why access roads? You want to be, okay, where am I coming from? What's the quickest interstate that I can get there? What's the least amount of time I can spend in my truck getting there? And do I have trailheads? Do I have Forest Service roads? Or I'm going to get inundated with ATVs. Nothing wrong with ATVs, but a lot of people never leave their ATVs to hunt. And both you and I have seen that. So, figure out where you're going to hunt, then get on Google Earth and fly Google Earth. Why am I saying flying? Because they get a little Super Cub. You just jump in there and you can fly all the terrain. You can fly the canyons. You can fly the valleys. You can fly everything that you're going to hunt and get a really good sense of it, because you want to prepare yourself physically and mentally. You want to have a visualization of where you're going to hunt, because this country will kick your butt. There's no question about it. And I don't care who you are, what you do as a flatlander. First of all, the altitude will suck it right out of you. Lisa, your thoughts on what I'm saying?
I would agree with you. I mean, again, I live in Denver, and where I'm at pretty good altitude here, and it takes me, even when I think I'm in shape for the Rockies or up in the high country, it takes me a week, I swear, of just persevering and pushing through, and maybe 2 weeks. About the middle of bow season, I finally feel like I can actually do it, and I can get to the top and chase elk and mule deer and stuff. But even somebody that lives here in Colorado, it takes time. So my brother comes from Texas, and it's 10 feet, and he runs year round, and that helps him. But again, he's still not quite prepared for the altitude. So you have to take precaution when you come here. A lot of people arrive a few days early and they get acclimated. They come to Denver first and take a day or two, and then they go to the next level and take a day or so. And I would highly recommend that, because there's nothing worse of getting into your hunting camp and you spend thousands of dollars to get here, and you get into hunting camp and you feel terrible for a week. And the best way to get out of altitude is to go down to lower altitude, drink water, and to get out of that high altitude. So they do that when they climb Mount Everest. They go to different camps for a reason, to get acclimated. And I would highly recommend anyone coming from, especially like the Florida and the Missouris and the out east, I would definitely tell them to come and get acclimated. Because I even have a headache when I go for the first, few hunts myself.
I'm just grasping some of the stuff that I had to do. I spent 22 days last August sheep hunting in Colorado, over 10,000 feet. Actually, I did climb a 14er because I wanted to see a basin on the other side, not because I wanted to climb a 14er. But anyway, hydrate, and I would take 6 ibuprofen in the morning and 6 in the afternoon, and just Google that, MedMD, and do some research, because you get a headache or you start feeling nauseous or lightheaded, you have to get down, because the mountains can flat kill you. That's one way they can kill you.
Yes, that's true. Yep. You have to get out of high altitude. You have to go down to lower altitude just to help yourself, because it's the blood vessels that to your head and everything else, and it'll kill you. And again, you can't drink enough water. If you think you've drank a lot of water, you probably haven't drank enough, to be honest. Yep.
I can't disagree on that. And when we're talking elk shape, right here in Colorado Springs, we have something called the Manitou Incline. 60% grade. It goes up 2,000 feet in a mile, and world-class athletes train on it, and they'll go up in 30 some minutes. My family goes up in about 59. It took me 2 hours a year ago to go up it, but I hadn't been in shape, and I got a brand new hip, and that was my test to go sheep hunting. So I tested myself, even though I lived here, even though it was 6 months away. I wanted to see if I could climb the incline, because I knew if I could climb that, I could climb anything. And the reason I tell you this story, someplace in your town you have a football stadium, someplace in your town you have a hill, someplace in your town you have something that's really steep, and if you do it 10 times, you're going to puke. Okay, that's where you want to work out.
Right, that's true. And you're lucky in Colorado Springs, like you said, you have a lot of training stuff. That's where all the Olympians come and train for the Olympics, so you're correct.
So, okay.
I think one of the things I see, though, Bruce, and I see it over and over again because I take so many people hunting, it's the simplest thing, but it seems to be a major problem when I take them. We can talk strategy and we can talk, data and where you're going, but it comes down to, I would tell you, about 80% of the hunters I take, the number one reason they can't hunt anymore, besides the obvious, is their boots. They get blisters immediately on the first hike, and they're done for the week. And it's because they haven't got the calluses or whatever they need on their feet in order to wear their boots, because they wore their tennis shoes at the gym every day, and they just didn't get their feet, in hiking condition, and they put these boots on, and they have 2 and 3 inch blisters, and they can't really even go anymore, because it's too painful. And to me, that is such a simple thing, but it seems to be such a big problem. And I've seen it over and over and over with just about every hunter I've ever taken. It's crazy. So I'm like, why when you got in shape, why didn't you wear your hunting boots? Because that's what you're going to wear out in the field. And so, like I said, it's a simple thing, but it's a very difficult thing too. So that would be one of my number one things is, did you get in shape with your hunting boots on?
Let's stay right there and talk about hunting boots, because, a gazillion go to Cabela's, Bass Pro, REI, the list goes on and on. And, I can remember some places where I didn't have to go, I was in the timber. Most of the time I was just in the timber. No rock faces, no scree, it was just in the timber. And I wore cross trainers, when I was archery hunting. But then when I came to take my elk out, I had to put on my heavy boots just for the support. Your thoughts on that?
I would agree. It depends where you're going, but I traditionally always wear my hunting boots. And the reason being is I like the support in them. Even though I have cross trainers like you were saying and stuff, even if I'm in lowlands of aspens and sagebrush, I traditionally out of habit wear my boots just because of the support and the orthotics that are in them. But like you said, there's a million kind of boots out there. I'm one of those people, if you're going to cut corners, cut it on a shirt or a pair of pants, but don't cut it on your boots. Get the best boot you can actually buy. Whatever you think, try a bunch on, what fits you the best, walk around the store, and then from there, if you get out and you take them home and they start hurting your feet, for whatever reason, take them back. So.
And I'll add my 2 cents. Your pair of boots, your preparation of your feet for walking 5, 10, 15 miles a day in terrain that's all up and down. If your boots aren't broken in, you are going to cripple yourself. It's just like a horse that throws his shoe. He cannot do his job. And I'll submit to you, that's the most important piece of equipment that you can buy. More important than your bow. More important than your...
Yep, and your binoculars and everything else. I would agree with you.
Or camouflage. You can have Sitka gear. You can have, Kuyu. You can have, treason gear. You can have scent blocker. The list goes on and on. You can spend $1,000 in putting gear on because you get the best gear for the hunt in a backpack,
yep.
Knives, and you're spending $1,000. And if you skimp on your boots, you just trashed your whole hunt. Guaranteed it.
Yep, you can sit in camp with that $1,000 outfit and look at elk that you can't go after because you can't walk. I would agree 100%.
So hopefully we pounded out enough. Get good boots. Wear your boots to work. Wear them around the house. Wear them doing the lawn. Not playing tennis. I wouldn't recommend that. But mountain biking, anything you are. You're going to the football game. You're going to a basketball game. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Wear your boots and put a couple hundred hours into your boots. And if they don't fit, you bought good boots. Take them back. Say the last is wrong. The size, it's European, it's the wrong size. Let's figure it out.
Right.
Go to reputable places. REI, I love buying my boots there because they got great boots. They're not just selling boots. They're selling the mountain experience and so forth. Nothing wrong with Cabela's or Bass Pro, but I like to go to a technical store. Mountain Smith, there's a place that mountain climbers go here in Colorado. I just can't remember. I know where it is. But, I go in there and talk to those guys, say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is terrain, blah, blah, blah. And they'll recommend a couple of boots. And you're going to spend hundreds of dollars, folks.
That's right. And most good boots that I think that I would call good have some sort of orthotic in it that forms to your foot. And that's what most people, need with different size arches, flat arches, high arches, or whatever. But I like the way you go about doing it. You go talk to the experts in the boot department. And it doesn't mean that the experts are at the big stores. They might be in a smaller store, but I would highly recommend that. It's crazy, Bruce, but I have seen that ruin more hunts than anything in my 40 years of hunting. Agreed,
100%. I've seen guys that are in great shape, and their feet go out, and they're screwed, flat. They can't hunt.
Yep, they're done. Doesn't matter how much their gun costs, how much their truck to get there costs, how much that ATV or that Ranger costs. They can't go. And they just call it quits and they just leave.
And that's sad. So I think we pounded that enough. Let's switch up to elk hunting techniques. Where do I want to hunt? Okay, I'm sitting in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I'm going, okay, I'm coming to Colorado. And, how do I figure out where I'm going to hunt?
Well, that's a good question because Colorado's a big state and we have a lot of units. But the way I figure it out and I do it every year. And I get the question asked me every year because I work for a company called Hunt Data, and we're a local company here in Colorado, and we do all the data for every unit in Colorado with how many preference points and how successful it was and that sort of thing. And so I take our product and I go in there and I say, what did 2015 or what did 2016 look like in a certain unit? How many people harvested an animal? What were the percentages? And then I pick my unit that way, and I do that. Every year. I also subscribe to a subscription to a magazine called Hunt and Fool. I use their information for research also because I hunt lots of different states, and so it's a great research tool to see where you want to hunt and what unit you want to hunt, and trying to narrow down what unit of what state you're going to hunt. And so that's what I between those two things, Hunt and Fool and the Hunt Data information, that's how I pick my unit.
And folks, I used Hunt Data on my sheep hunt, and it's a great product. It does more than I needed it or wanted to do. But one thing in my planning, it overlaid where the sheep had been taken in this specific unit. And so I kind of had an idea of what basins they were at. And if every year there's one ridge that a ram was taken off of, but it's way away from every place else, that's where I want to hunt, because I want to hunt that one ram. I don't want to hunt where everybody else is going because more rams are up.
Right.
I want to pick out those little hidden spots. And talking to Danielle Johnson, who's Lisa's partner with Hunt Data, they help me understand, here's what you do, Bruce, and here's your way markers. You guys know how to do the GPS thing. But when you have the maps, you got topo maps, you got harvest maps, and they're all overlaid. The tool will put you where you need to be and it's not that hard. I'm 70 years old. It's not that hard to use, and with some just simple tutorial, and you download your maps, you have a device right on your phone that will do everything you need. Let's give props out to Hunt Data. Anything else you want to say about Hunt Data?
No, I think you nailed that on the head. It's a product that we have that you can load to your iPhone, your iPad, your Garmin, your Droid, and it shows you when you're out in the field, in satellite mode, because you can turn all those. You have your cell phone, you can go to airplane mode, and you know right where you're at, because your iPhone has a satellite chip on it, so you always know where you're at. So if the fog comes in, the snow comes in, you know how to get back to your camp, to your truck, or whatever, your ATV. It's a great product. That's one of our products. That's our mapping product. But the product I was talking about a little bit earlier is called Big Game 7.0, and that's the one that you say, I have 3 preference points, I have no preference points. You put that in, and then we show you all the units in Colorado that require 3 points or 5 points, and then we show you the statistics in the last 10 years, how well it hunted, how many people hunted it, how successful they were, and so it's a great tool to do research for. I talk to a lot of people that are hunting areas that the animal success in like first rifle season per se might be 10%, and they're wondering why they can't get an elk. Well, out of 100 people, 10 people are, and I'm like, why don't you go to a unit that's maybe 30%? So it's a great tool for them to, and myself, that I use every year to find out where I'm going to go hunting, especially when you're waiting for a draw, because you want to gather preference points in Colorado so you can hunt a draw area. So you hunt a lot of years in an over-the-counter area, so it's a great tool for that.
Thanks for that. Let's switch it up. Okay, we're at camp. We know we're going to hunt. We're on national forest, and this is we're talking to DIY hunters. We're not talking to private land hunters.
Yep.
And if you have the ability to get on a private ranch in Colorado and you can afford it, go for it, because you'll have a hunt of a lifetime. But a lot of us can't do that, and so that's why we're doing this DIY show. And so we're in camp, and we start thinking, okay, I know some drainages, I know some saddles, I know some basins. It's going to take me 3 hours to walk up there in the dark. Let's stop right there. If you cannot handle the dark, get over it or don't come elk hunting. Your thoughts, Lisa?
I agree. I hunt till the last light, and most of the action for me comes in the last light. So if you're not willing to walk out in the dark a couple miles or whatever, how far you got from camp, it's tough. I don't know. I know a lot of people that take horses, and if they don't have a wrangler with them, they leave before that, the last hour or so, because they need to feed horses and they have to water them, and they don't want to do it in the dark. And to me, they've missed the best part of hunting. They've waited all day for that, especially with our bow hunters. It's so hot here. That last hour of the hunt is probably definitely the best. And so I would tell people that are bringing horses or hunting off a horse, I'd say bring a wrangler with you. Bring somebody that will take care of the horses so you can hunt. So.
Thanks for that. And so I'm going to throw out one technique that worked for me, and I learned it a long time ago. When you get in the area, don't hunt elk per se. Get up on the highest ridge you can to cover the most land you can. Get out your heavy glass. I mean, the best spotting scope you got, the best glasses you have, and just sit there the whole day. And this should be before season opens. And just watch the ridges, watch the basins, watch water sources, watch funnels. Whitetail guys, you know what funnels and pinch points are. Well, elk have exactly the same thing. Lisa, how would you start off your hunt?
Well, I start my hunt off early. I actually set up, even in national forests, all mine's do-it-yourself hunting. I put up game cameras of places that I have, if you can. I know if you're coming from out of state, but that's where you hopefully have a buddy in Colorado that would help you. Maybe you make a trip out here or what. But Donnell and I set up game cameras early, and then we check them. And if we can't check them, we ask our buddy to go check them. And so that's one way we do it. If you can't do that, obviously, get out here early, get acclimated like I talked about earlier. And, if you could come a week early, that would be great. Like you said, I get on the highest point that you can find, and I just glass all day. And a lot of times else you get up and eat lunch too. You can still see them around. Sometimes you can see them up feeding at noon or whatever. But that first early part, being there at first light and being there at last light when you're scouting is so important. And so glassing is, patience, but glassing, trying to figure out what they do every day. When do they go down to water? When do they go to their bedding? Because when it's time for the hunting season to start, you can maybe intercept them when they're going from their bedding to their feeding place.
Just thinking as you were talking, some people I know that have been very successful hunt one day. Why? Because they got out here a week, 10 days before, and they did all their hunting when nobody else was in the forest. Yeah, a couple of days before, the rigs will start coming in, the tents will start going up, and guys start taking a little walk. But if you're serious about it, your hunt should be over the first or second day if you do it right. Your thoughts, Lisa?
I would agree with you. I think everybody takes their week or their 10 days or 2 weeks during the hunting season, and if they did what we were talking about right now, they did their hunting the week before because they watched the pattern the animals, and they're done within a day or two because they sat there for a week and watched them do the same thing. They're a migratory animal. They're very habitual. So until they're buggered, if they're not buggered at all, they're gonna do the same thing every day. And so I agree with you. That's one of the smartest ways to hunt the Colorado Rockies, if you ask me. I would take my vacation on the front end for an elk hunt before the season starts, and then opening day it's gravy.
Yeah, and I hope you heard the word patterning, habitual. Whitetails, we know where they should come every single day, especially in September before the rut starts. And elk are exactly the same thing, only they live in 10,000 acres, not 40. That's the hard
true.
part. That's the puzzle piece that buries people. But all the wonderful hunts I've had, the more time I spend in the front end, the hunt's over. I mean, open day comes up, I'm exactly where I want to be because I left camp at 2 a.m. in the morning. I know right where I want to be. I'm sitting there. The elk comes out. They go meow. I don't bugle. I just mew. And all of a sudden the head come up, and the bull will go, "What's that?"
Yep, they think they picked up another cow.
And then they just walk in, and you shoot them with your bow. I mean, is it that simple? No. But can it happen that way? Yes.
Yes. It happens a lot. A lot of people do get theirs on opening weekend. And again, they didn't just happenstance on that. That didn't just happen. They didn't just fall into it. I guarantee if you sat most of those people down, they've been watching these elk. They've been glassing these elk. They have a game camera up. They've been watching them do the same thing every day. Now, the only trick to that is, and we don't want to oversee this, is that, so you know what they're doing every day. You've watched them from another mountaintop every day. Now the trick is playing the wind and making sure on opening day, whatever that is, knowing if the thermals are coming up in the morning or going out, just knowing the wind, because the wind will kill you faster than anything.
Agreed. And let's wrap this up, and I'm just trying to think. Every afternoon, especially in the fall, storms come in. And your thoughts about being safe, and if you're in the Alpine, what the heck you need to do if they start rolling in. And I'm talking thunder, lightning, snow, rain, hail, 30, 40 mile an hour winds. I mean, it gets nuts, absolutely nuts. So how do you stay safe?
It does. Well, sometimes you're just kind of in a place that, a lot of times Donnell and I will walk into an area early in the morning, like you said, 2 or 3 in the morning, and we're 4, 5, 6 miles back. It's not like we can just run to camp and get out of it. We traditionally hunker down under a tree, and can that tree get hit by lightning? That's true. But we usually hunker down under a tree, and we have rain gear with us, and sometimes I will even carry a tarp if it's a small tarp on my pack, just so we can kind of cut some of the elements down, and we just tuck in and wait for it hopefully to pass. And if it doesn't, then we get up and we hunt it out. So, but again, we don't sit on top of a mountain when it's lightning and that sort of thing. We get behind and we go down in elevation, and we just sit and we try to wait the storm out.
Well, thanks for that. We've already burned almost 40 minutes, and I just want to give a shout out to GoHunt.com, Brandon Evans and Chris Porter, Renzo Sartini, and they're helping make this whole series possible. So I want to give a shout out to you guys. And folks, if you don't know Go Hunt, go to GoHunt.com, Insider, and become an insider. And a lot of things that we're talking about, they discuss every single year. And be a friend of Hunt Data, because these gals, they know Colorado. Didn't you just come out with Utah also?
We came out with Utah. We have Arizona, Wyoming, and Colorado. We have 4 states now, and we're working on Washington and Montana.
So they're a growing company. They're a great company. So whoever you decide to use, the biggest thing I would say is use it. Your final thoughts, Lisa?
I would agree. Research is your number one friend. You can do it from sitting in your house or your office at lunchtime and just come out with the knowledge, and then put the boots to the ground and go have fun. Check out all the sunrises and all the sunsets, because God gave us a great world to explore, and I just say have fun.
On behalf of Whitetail Rendezvous, Lisa Thompson of Hunt Data, thank you so much for being a guest on the special edition of Whitetail Rendezvous, DIY, the Rockies.
Thank you, Bruce.
As promised, here's the good stuff. When you sign up for your membership at GoHunt.com Insider, you're going to get a promo code WR2017. Again, that promo code is WR2017. What's that going to do? Well, that's going to enable you, when you pay for your membership, to get a $50, yes, $50 Sportsman Warehouse gift card. So here's the deal. You go to www.gohunt.com/insider and fill out all the information. When it asks for promo code, put in WR2017. And when you get verification of your membership in the mail, you will get from GoHunt.com a $50 Sportsman Warehouse gift card. Couldn't be any simpler. And I want to thank each and every one of you for listening to Whitetail Rendezvous, DIY in the Rockies Special Edition.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.